Edvest is Africa's leading digital educational platform, which enables administration, communication, finance, teaching, and learning beyond the classroom. Edvest allows you as a parent to access and track your child's academic reports and personal growth at any time, giving you a better understanding of your child's academic performance.
Have a nice day at school.
We give you the security and reassurance you need to excel in your daily activities and manage your financial obligations to your child's education. Edvest provides an administrative and management system which enhances accountability, teamwork, and growth needed for a thriving organization. Which brings perfect results. Teach creatively, learn effectively, track your child's performance easily, and do so much more with Edvest. Edvest, digital education. Visit www.edvest.net to get started now.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to every one of you. Thank you for coming out. This beautiful event that is going to change the narrative, that is going to change your minds.
So today we're here to discuss about learning outcomes. We have very qualified speakers from all around the world.
Schools across Africa are joining Edvest because of our position and because of our love to see school grow and deliver the objectives of learning and make impact.
What we need to change is we need to make sure that whatever we do, whether it's a public sector school and private sector school, the children should not suffer as a result. Because at the end of the day, the only way to lift the people out of poverty is through education.
With pedagogical leadership now, you have a set of strategies that then support teachers to be better, to keep improving. And that has a direct impact on learning outcomes.
But what Edvest has done for us is that we're able to see data as to how everyone performs in the classroom, and we're able to see how, people are struggling.
Our commitment as educators is tied to the definition and description of who a teacher is.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you are joining us from. My name is Cynthia Okonkwo, the Marketing and Communications Associate at Edvest. You're welcome to our monthly SGA webinar. SGA simply stands for School Growth Academy. Here we have wonderful, insightful conversations on everything education, and we have professionals, industry experts who come on board to give us wonderful ideas. But I won't be doing it alone today because I have...
My name is Kendi Olonfemi. I'm the Learning and Research Officer, and we'll be anchoring this SJ webinar together today. And for this month is going to be our student edition of the webinar. And here today we have 6 students from 2 great institutions. Here with me is...
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kibati, a student of Vivian Fowler Memorial College for Girls.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Harriet Ario, and I am a student of Vivian Fowler Memorial College for Girls.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ajayi Enyola, and I'm a student from Nassau High School.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Samuel Shanki. I'm a student of Nassau High School.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Oluwasegun Zakas, and I'm a student from Nassau High School.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Okeke Funai, and I'm a student from Nassau High School.
Those are wonderful students who have come on board to have this wonderful conversation with us. And we're going to be talking about education and the future of work. We'll be bordering more on the social media thing. Sit tight, tell us you're ready to learn in the comment section, and tell us where you're watching us from. We'll go on a short break and we'll be back.
In today's society, social media has become a powerful and popular tool in people's daily life. Due to its wide coverage, social media has millions and millions of users in any part of the world. The biggest and most useful function is that we can use them to chat and keep in touch with others. We can post something that we want to share, such as our feelings, things that are gonna happen, or had already happened. Of course, we can view others' moments too, to find something funny, to know what happened around you. In the last few years, social media has greatly changed the world of marketing. Enterprises use social media to showcase their brands, build a good relationship with customer and drawing new sales. Social media makes life convenient, lets people get reach to each other. It certainly plays a great role for the success of each individual.
Welcome. So before we get into the conversation from her, we'll be playing a little game. You know this or that game, yeah?
Yes.
Are you ready? Because everybody wants to know you better, so we're here, yeah? So quick one. Would you rather have an 8 a.m. class every day or 8 p.m. classes every day?
8 a.m. classes every day.
What about you?
8 p.m.
You'd rather have a night class? Okay.
8 a.m. classes every single day.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
I love that.
Okay.
8 a.m. classes every day.
Okay.
8 p.m. classes.
So just you and Ifunanya 8 p.m. classes.
I also have 8 p.m. classes.
Wow.
Is there a reason for this?
Because I don't like waking up early.
So you study better at night.
Yes.
So you learn better
At
at
night,
night.
yes.
Okay. Would you rather never have any smartphone of your choice or any car of your choice for life?
I love cars. I don't have any car of my choice. Like, I don't need to use it for the front of the car and visit.
Ooh, okay, I like that. What about
I
you?
have any smartphone of my choice. I don't mind working for them.
What about you? I want to know what you would rather take and
I would rather have any smartphone choice. After all, a car is not the only means of transportation. You can take a bus, you can take a bike.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
What
it's
about
time to get an I don't have any car of my choice.
Car.
Okay, like cars are more expensive than phones.
You don't care about phones.
You're just looking at your phone.
True. Okay. Would you rather have 10 million naira or 10 million IG followers?
10 million naira.
Wow. IG followers. Okay, what about you? IG followers, because if you are smart with 10 million followers, you can make a lot of money.
Wow, that's
Oh my god, it's so smart.
Yeah, that's a smart answer.
The thing is that you can also use money to buy followers.
And you can with that 10 million, you can double your 10 million and make it 40 million. Double the 40 million, make it 80 million.
Invest
10
in
million,
real estate.
that's literally.
And Instagram is dying anyway, so.
Like, we're waiting for a new revolutionary app to come along.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it. That's it for the ice-breaking question. We'll get to the first question. And I want to hear like your, honest, deep conversations and thoughts about this. Do you think that having a large social media following can help you in your future career?
Well, yes, definitely, because today we have about 5 billion people who are active social media users, which means that, in fact, an average teenager today probably has 8.5 accounts on Instagram, which means that
8.5 million?
8.5 accounts, like just 8.5, like 8.5 accounts that
Okay.
they have created, which definitely means that you are very, very much alive on this app. You created your spam accounts, you have main ones, which means you're able to reach more people, connect more people out there. So the more you're following, the more you can invest, the more you can spread awareness about whatever you're doing in reality generally.
What do you think about this? Yeah.
I feel like I feel like it can boost your career. Like it's strongly account. So like if you start at a very young age and like you build up a lot of followers, a loyal fan base, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not only IG, right? YouTube, TikTok.
Exactly.
I can make a lot of money out of it. So like you can start your career with social media.
You said young age. I would like to know what age is young.
Yeah. Like
what age is appropriate to start to have a social media account?
Like 16, 18.
Okay.
Now, Tobiloba, speaking of education, do you think that traditional schooling, that is teaching within the four walls of the classroom, is enough to prepare you for the demand of the future workplace?
Thank you very much for the question, sir. I don't believe that traditional teaching is enough to prepare students for the workplace. The workplace that is going to happen tomorrow is very different from what we are being taught today, as AI will continue to take more and only more jobs. Therefore, that does not mean that nobody with traditional teaching alone cannot succeed in the future. People can learn these new skills in their new jobs as they are working. They can be learning as they're working, or they can take the responsibility to learn these skills at a young age. Such skills include complex socio-political reasoning, human sympathy and empathy, and creativity.
I don't know if you have one or two things to say.
I think that for traditional classroom learning, that there's only so much that can be done within the four walls of the classroom, which is why schools began to introduce the concept of extracurriculars and field trips. Because honestly speaking, looking at a viewpoint of the future, because almost the Generation Z will make up to a third of the workforce by the end of the decade. So we're really thinking like Generation Z are a very flexible generation, and they are very acquainted with digital literacy. So if you continue to restrict the Generation Z to just learning in a classroom, like for example, a lot of the time in classroom you learn the theoretical part of things, but when it comes to practical application in real life, you may be confused and won't be able to apply the knowledge properly. So I believe that traditional classroom learning isn't sufficient enough to prepare people to be capable for the workspace.
I think from what you guys said now, from what you said, you talked about the Gen Z, right? Which deals with digital literacy and all that. That's why here at Edvest, I think we try to come up with a product which is PL by Edvest, which the PL simply means personalized learning. This is a platform that gives students, the opportunity to go online. Online, you can just purchase the courses that have been created by teachers all over the world, from world standard school, right? Now you can buy the course, and at the comfort of your own houses and wherever you are, right? You can take part in all those courses and also prepare for your external or internal examinations. Over to you, Cynthia.
Harriet, you said something that really struck me. You talked about digital literacy. So I want to know if I'm a student, how can I use my creativity? How can I showcase my creativity on social media? And how can it help me in my job going forward when I'm applying for jobs?
I think that social media can be used in the context that there are already so many artists and content creators who are prevalent on social media platforms. For example, content creators, musicians, hairdressers, beauty influencers, and so much more. Because social media is used by so many people in the world, it is very easy to access all demographics and all ages of people, which could make your work get to others more easily and less stressfully, because social media cuts across all ages and it can be used to influence your workspace. And not only are you able to showcase your creativity, you're also able to learn the creative spirits from others and share it with those around you. So social media, because it's so global and it's such a prevalent thing in today's society, it's very important that to display creativity on social media, because also you can also get monetized, get support from people all over the world, gain huge opportunities. So that is one major benefit of social media on work and promoting work.
Thank you very much. I'd like to hear what Ifunanya has to say with regards to creativity and showcasing it on social media.
In my own opinion, I feel like if you are really good at something and you promote it on social media, and let's say in future you plan on getting a job, that alone itself can help you, because nowadays when people apply for job, they tend to look at their social media accounts, what they post and what they do. So if you are posting things that relate to what you are going for, the people that want to employ you or where you are planning on going to work, they can see that, oh, you are really good at this, and they would want to employ you more. Yeah.
You spoke of employment now, yeah. What careers has emerged from TikTok, Instagram? What careers have emerged from TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, the use of it as an influencer, apart from influencing? What careers do you think has come up from it?
Comedians, for example. Comedians, like nowadays, there are lots of comedians. You see Rodney, you see Brother Shaggy. They tend to like promote their talent on Instagram, and then people get a lot of likes from it, and just from that. And at times they get invited to shows for them to like be the host of the show. So comedians tend to gain from TikTok and all the social media accounts.
I feel like influencers, that influencers' life could be very fleeting, right? Because to stay on top, you have to continue posting videos, continue doing trends, and their life, they couldn't like balance their lives, like their social life and their social media life. Yeah, it's going to be very hard to balance it. You can cause like depression, anxiety, things like that.
I think you talked about balancing both the social media and now, yes, we have high demand for social media fame right now, right? Everybody now is venturing into social media. Everybody wants to be an influencer in one way or the other. It might be through comedy skits, content creation or anything, or even in education. So if you are trying to build a personal brand while also getting good grades, then how can you balance the two?
I actually tried doing that, right? Like I tried to make a clothing brand, but I don't think I could balance it with school because I have to run some things. And also I'm hostel. I'm a boarder, so I couldn't really see how it work out. So I don't really think that could work out.
Yeah, it may not work out if you're doing it by yourself, but I think that's where external help and people around you come into play, like marketers, for instance. You ask for other social media jobs that were out there. We have advertisers, marketers, people who work behind the scenes for all these people. We even have social media managers. My sister, for instance, she's a social media manager, which means to say if you were to create a clothing brand, you would need to get like your manager, your social media manager as well, a marketer, advertiser. Many people would come into play. So I generally think a balance can be made here if you have external help and you know how to use the resources you have to the best of your ability.
I'd like to add to this. Okay. It's possible to balance social media in your work life. In your school life. Because AI tools such as ChatGPT and Dolly have made it possible to generate content faster and faster without having to come up with a good idea or something like that. You just need to be smart with it. And I advise some people to do things that don't require a lot of thoughts or a long time to do. They should do something that is simple, short, and straight to the point, and something you can keep up consistently. Like maybe as a student, you can do only once or twice, release a new content only once or twice a week. This is where short form it comes in, because it's very much easier to make short form content than long form content. Short form content requires just for you to make a good idea and to do something with it, while long form content requires careful planning and writing a script alongside very good editing. Therefore, it is possible for a person to balance their life, their school life, and their social media life together.
I think that for balancing social media, creating a brand for yourself, and also being good at school, I feel like it takes a certain level of self-control to be able to, like, for example, I'm writing my IGCSEs this year, and at the same time, I still want to do something, maybe start a brand or something. And I feel like it all comes down to planning, it comes down to self-control, you being able to know when enough is enough. For example, if you have about 5 free hours in a day, and you use 3 of those hours to study, 1 hour to rest, and 1 hour to create your brand, you dedicate it solely to doing what you want to do on social media, and you don't allow these time limits to spill over into each other. Each week, you'll be creating 5 hours of content, and I honestly feel like that's still enough for you to be able to create a brand for yourself and still allow people to notice you. So I just feel like it just boils down to you being able to recognize how much time you have and be able to split it efficiently.
I feel like in balancing having advertising a social media brand with education, you need a routine. It's possible to still do this. You just need a routine, how to plan yourself out. You need to know the time that you're going to use for education. You need to know the time that you're going to use for advertising this brand. You have to be disciplined and you have to prioritize your time.
Actually, seen who are in boarding school that do this. We have like children who are in secondary school today who are in Lagos that live with us that are able to do this perfectly. Like a girl called Myro, for instance, she owns a clothing brand and she still goes to school, and I believe she actually still does do well and she's able to balance it all.
So I'd like to know, we've all talked about how you can navigate and balance social media and school, but what about the distractions? We're talking the success that comes from a very thriving social media business or a social media brand. How can we navigate not having getting distracted from this success that we'd get from social media?
I feel like that's where self-control comes in, and also you need an adult to like help you, because for example, you see influencers. Imagine you getting extremely popular online. Obviously you would like the fame and you always be like going online, check what people posted about you, comment. But I feel like you should be able to set a time limit. Oh, for this particular period of time I'll be checking about my followers, checking up on people that follow me. So it's not just be like, oh, they're following but you don't care about them. Like, you need to check up on your fans. And also I feel like that's where adults come in. They also need to be there with you so that you don't exceed, because there are times where you will set limits but then you would just want to continue, because social media is quite addictive. So I feel like parents and adults should also come in, should also help you with these things.
What I would like to say to that is discipline, because it is how much you react based to something based on how much you hold it in your heart, which means you need to limit the amount of energy and dedication and pressure you feel on social media, because social media has a way of making you feel like I need to do more to stay relevant, I need to be more active, I need to perform more. But you need to reduce its importance in your life, because the future, as we all know, is social media and putting your life out there. But as students, depending on where you are, actually, if you are a full-grown adult and all you do is make content, then I advise you to stay on social media almost 2/7. But if you're a student like us who have other priorities, then you need to be able to realize what is important, because there would be time to do it, there will be time to post online, there will be time to have fun. So it's all about how much you need to weigh what's more important to you every time.
I also feel like, aside from self-control and discipline, which are all very correct, I think something else that comes to play is that the beautiful thing about technology and tech companies like Apple and Samsung is that they know that you're going to get addicted to their products. They know that you're bound to fall into the bottomless pit of social media. So they've set guidelines in place. Like, for example, on Apple phones, there's this thing called screen time that I have on my phone personally as well. When you set a limit for yourself, how much time you can spend on social media every single day. And when your time limit is up, you can't use the apps anymore. So when you say to yourself that you want to be committed to getting good grades, you want to be committed to actually focusing on what is important to you right now, I feel like if you're able to set those screen times, if you're able to say, I'm only going to be on social media for 30 minutes, because the thing about social media is that when you become popular, your hype will die one day. And like, for example, there was this very, very famous TikToker, Charlie D'Amelio, who blew up in 2019, and then she dropped out of high school. But the thing is that now nobody really remembers her. And the thing is that she's already dropped out of school and she's like trying to like get more into like content creation, but that crowd just isn't really there anymore. If you really want to be someone who is successful and be a role model in life, I feel like you have to prioritize and realize that social media is not that relevant, and you have to actually do things that will get you actual money and resources.
Apart from responsibility and other things, it also depends on the kind of person the social media user is. If the person is the kind of person that gets easily distracted and cannot set time limits without the help of an adult or other forms of external supervision, I don't say the person should use social media. But if the person is very disciplined and knows how to keep to schedules and limits and is very regimented, then I'm sure they can probably manage it. Another thing you should also consider is the kind of platform you are using. For example, platforms like TikTok and Instagram, you can get popular for almost no apparent reason. You don't know how likely it is for you to get popular while using platforms like that. While on platforms like YouTube, you have to get popular steadily. You gain a steady following, and you do that by making good quality content. On YouTube, you can get how to get popular and how to not get popular, and you know how good your content is and how not good it is, and you know how many subscribers and likes and stuff like that you're going to get. Unlike platforms like TikTok, where it's completely random and depends on trends and other forms of things.
Thank you very much, Zacchaeus. You said something about Charlie Amelio, yeah? I want to know, Eniola, how, if I'm a TikToker or I just blew up overnight and I was a student and I had to, I didn't get that fame, or the fame dropped, or I didn't, that hype is no longer around me. Don't you think it would affect my mental health? So now I'm going into the topic of mental health, because this is still education and social media fame, and this still affects the future of work. How can I navigate all of this and still protect my mental health?
Okay, so I think that this is one of the reasons why it's advised that students should not be in social media for the fame purpose in secondary school, because balancing it, yes, you might be able to balance having time for social media and your education, but in an instance where you just blow up overnight and you have followers and then so many people are counting on content from you, or your followers just drop all of a sudden, it will really affect this person's mental health, because there's no way that it won't, because obviously we care and it will affect our mental health. So I think that we should most likely go into these things after we're on a stable ground. We have a platform that we're working on after school, because we would not like it to affect our education.
I feel like a lot of people get carried away so easily. So I feel like social media should just continue playing the role of personal marketing and advertising, because I don't think you should prioritize social media over your mental health. Because if you can't keep up with something, you shouldn't try to be above others. Of course, everybody wants to be above somebody, but if you can't keep up with it, just stick with what you can do.
I feel like if you are having issues with managing your mental health because of social media, just don't think about it, just delete it. Because that has kind of happened to me before. Not like I was having issues in my mental, but I realized I was getting really distracted. And when you start thinking about, my followers, my account, everything is going to be gone, you can't think about that in the moment. If you notice that you're having issues with social media, you're getting distracted, or your mental health is going down, you have to just distance yourself from it for a while. Prioritize yourself, work on yourself, go on a journey of self-discovery. When you realize that you are independent enough and you are mentally okay, maybe you could go back if you know you are disciplined enough to manage it. But if you feel like you are still not going to be able to manage it, I just recommend not being on social media at all, because some people are not on social media and they are still existing and they are doing fine. So it's not necessarily something that you have to do. If you're struggling with your mental health, just deactivate it.
When it comes to how social media fame affects a person's mental health and how losing followers or likes, something like that, can affect a person's mental health, these parts a huge role depends on the way the platform psychology works. On a service like TikTok or Instagram, you notice that there's a rate of people losing more likes or more followers than on the service like YouTube. On YouTube, people don't generally lose subscribers because they don't make content anymore. It ultimately depends on what you prioritize. Some people consider social media as their identity and their only reason to live, and it's very wrong to do that, because anybody can lose that or the ability to do that anytime. You should find value in who you are and not what you do. Also, another thing is that if you blew up on social media for and you didn't expect it, you should, and you are not planning to keep that up, or you don't know exactly how you got it, then if your followers drop, you shouldn't be disappointed or be angry or anything, because you don't even know how you got so much followers in the first place. So that's all I have to say.
Okay. All right. I think we've all said it. We know that based on, I think what I can pick from all what you said is that social media could be a distraction, right? When not properly managed, right? And I think Ifeanyi said something earlier that as if you want to build your career in social media, also to balance your school life or education life, what you need to do is, I think she said something about having a manager, right? You must have a guardian. Now there's always there to put you through, and also to balance both the social media, right, and also your academic part of it. Now this guardian could be your parents, right? Could be your siblings who are always there, or you could also have a manager, right, which will help you to balance it, so that when you are off track, or you are spending much time on social media, that person will have to bring you back on track. All right, everyone. So I think right now we want to go on a short break. We'll be back soon. Welcome back. I think all this while we're talking about the downside of social media and how it could be distraction or not to education, and also how to balance it. And also we all agree that it could be a distraction when you're unable to balance both the social media fame and your academics. All right, I also have another question. In preparing for examinations like international examination or external examinations like WAEC, NECO, IGCSE rather, and UTME. Now, do you think physical materials like the past question textbooks, right, or digital materials are best suited for your preparation for social exam?
Personally, as an IGCSE candidate, I believe that first of all, digital materials are honestly just so much better than physical copies, because if you are going to school, the books get heavy and then you're just like dragging your suitcase, there are bruises all over your hand and you're carrying it to school. It's just a whole lot of load. And also buying these physical materials, like for example, IGCSE, there are some bookstores that do this thing where they compile past questions together, and one book could be like 60,000 naira. And I really don't see the point of you spending that much money on a book when all of that could just be downloaded in PDF form online. Because I personally have been using past questions for a long time, but I have never actually bought past questions or said. The only time I printed them out was because I was having an issue with my laptop at the time. But the thing is that digital materials are so much better because they only take up a small amount of storage. They're easier to use, they're easier to manage. You can send it from one device to another, and it's just inexpensive, and it's easier to find as well, so you don't have to go around the whole Lagos searching for somewhere that is selling past questions books or questions that are related to your subject. So I personally feel that digital materials are just so much better and more efficient.
What the girl said was right. Digital materials are more efficient where available. But the problem is that for many of these examinations, especially Nigerian ones, WAEC and NECO, the digital forms are not readily available or they are not readily optimized. So sometimes it can end up being more of a hassle using them than the physical forms, unfortunately. Everyone wants to use the digital version of a past question book, but the only few good ones that exist, such as Test Driller UTME, they are unoptimized, sometimes tying you to a single laptop, and then you have to pay for them, apart from the fact that they are not optimized. So while digital preparation methods such as digital past questions are more efficient, unfortunately they did not fit our current curriculum very well without you having to pay a fee.
Talking about most of them are not suited, right, for some of our examination. Yeah, you have to buy most of them. And now I think here we have a product as well, which I think answers that, which is PQ by Edvest. PQ simply means past questions by Edvest, where you have past questions on JAMB, WAEC, NECO, even IGCSE. Even for students preparing for the BECE, right? They're just 3 students or grade 9 students. All questions like that are there, past questions, which are best suited now for our curriculum, and also for IGCSE for students that want to write the Cambridge IGCSE. We have past questions also there, right? Which is best suited, which could also, and these past questions are set in such a way that it is time framed, right? So that if you are preparing for your UTME exams, there is time limit for the question. So once you start the questions, right, you already know it starts counting down. And also, even after you've submitted the exam, you have they have the opportunity to check the incorrect answers and also the analytics of your performance.
My own opinion about digital learning and physical learning, I feel like digital learning is like better in my opinion, but then at times for me as an example, let's say I want to study for exam, I usually go to this site, myschool.ng. They have like a lot of past questions on it, and the past questions there are similar to the ones my school gave us in 9-in-1 textbook. But then at times when I tend to use the myschool.ng, there are times where I will just go online like YouTube or stuff like that. So I feel like at this point you should just print out the questions, because printing it out wouldn't be much. It wouldn't like be a much load compared to that of the 9-in-1. It should just be like the particular subject you need, so that you don't get distracted by going online.
If you have questions for our students right now would be the best time to drop your questions in the comment section. I know that we are all listening and we are all getting value. We are all getting value for our time. We are learning a lot. We've learned about routine, mental health, how to navigate work-life balance and work-school balance and social media. Now will be a good time to ask all of your burning questions. So what I want to ask right now is, you've talked about personal branding, yeah, in today's digital age. If I want to be a doctor, how do you think I can, as a social media person, push my innate career, what I want to be? So I'm not even talking being an influencer. Well, I want to be a lawyer. We've seen cases where they are like, online lawyers who create beautiful content. Yeah. Well, how can I do that with what do you want to be? Me? Yes. How can you use social media to build your personal brand whilst pushing engineering, that is your passion, to the world?
I think that when you have a job that you have in mind for like your future career, a lot of universities nowadays do this thing whereby you are recommended to have a passion project. So a passion project is basically what have you done in high school or secondary school that is related to your career, that is able to boost you and make you seem like you are ready for the career and to study it in university. So a lot of people that want to study, like people who want to study forensics, for example, a lot of them go into true crime. They do podcasts, they post like content about cases that have not been solved. They try to investigate them and they amass a large following. Or someone who wants to be a research scientist, they start to post videos about research articles that they think are not correct, or research articles that they think can be countered. Or if you want to be an engineer like myself, you begin to post about new materials, things like that. And I know on TikTok, because I follow a lot of them, I met a lot of people who use TikTok that are like astrophysics or aerospace, like majors, for example. They post a lot about space, new findings, and that way you can get people who are like you, and you can build a community where people can also share their ideas and their thoughts on their future careers. So it's also one way to get people to support you, and it's also a great thing to, because if you put it on your transcript or your CV, for example, it looks amazing because universities would be like, oh, she's outspoken but she's also doing what she loves. So it's just one way to build a community and get better connections.
Eniola, do you have something to say? What would you like to be? A doctor. So how would you use social media to push that out there?
Just like what she said, I think you can use social media to put what you want to be out there by putting content related to that. Like for me, I want to be a doctor, so you could put ways to help people. You could put new technologies that have been found for doctors to help people that are sick. You could post health videos, how to take care of yourself, things to promote yourself, how you can be better, how you can stay healthy, stay fit, just to let people know that this is what you're promoting, this is what you want to be.
I think we've also talked about how how social media could help to achieve our career, right? Career. Now, do you think? Now, I want to ask this question. How do you think social media as well could hinder such career?
Thank you very much for the question, sir. I believe social media could inhibit such careers if a person posts stuff that are, number one, against the company's policy or even their core products, or number two, extremely harmful to not just the company but another person. Nobody wants to associate with somebody who does bad things or does things that are harmful to other people. I once heard of a story of a person wanted to go to a particular bank. So the bank looked up his name and they found out that he was speaking bad things about the bank. The point is that you should be careful about what you put on social media, because when you least expect it, it can come out against you. People also put bad things on social media can also get are also less likely to be employed by a company. If a person produces sexual content or erotic content on social media, or things that involve self-harm, just not to elicit reactions from people. No company wants to employ them. Or if person does stuff that are against a company's core values, and the company is less likely to employ such a person. TLDR, don't use social media for negative things, or else it could hinder you and your reputation in the future. Thank you.
What I have to say is that's what we call digital footprints, which means that from the first day you create a social media account, you should monitor what you text, what you post, and how you portray information. We've seen so many cases of, in 2015, this person said something about their president. The matter that what you put out there for the world to see, which is why you need to be very careful. Such things can be inhibited because you may not know, but embassies, universities, they always look at your social media accounts before they accept you to do a certain thing. When you're looking for a job, for instance, they will always go over, they'll type your name, what you have said, what you have been, and you never know what anybody could find. In order to not inhibit your future dreams or your career, you should be very mindful of what you put out there for the world to see at any time. Thank you.
I feel like social media could be very destructive in the workplace, right? Because if like instead of like doing the job you're expected to do, you'll be all over social media doing things you're not meant to be doing. And also social media could ruin a company's reputation in seconds. Like now, if a big influencer comes like to a organization, a very big organization, it could and doesn't like what's happening there and like posts about it, it's could ruin their company's reputation in matters of seconds. So I feel like social media should like not being like it could be used in the workplace, but like not excessive. Yeah.
Okay, so from what I'm getting, we should, control what we put on social media, right?
Yeah, I think that's the the bottom line of everything. That's whatever you are posting online, you should control everything. You don't just post content, right, for followership sake or for engagement, right? But you post something that will be impactful, because whatever you do today might speak up for you tomorrow, right? And sometimes you will have to watch what you post. People, due to I think they get moved by things happening around them, and as such, they post content that might be illicit, right? Which the social community, right, could find inappropriate.
People are asking questions online, and somebody is asking, how can a student in the boarding school create a brand on social media?
As we already said before, anything is possible if you have the right resources and use your resources to the best of your ability. By discussing with your mom, for instance, getting funding, being in a boarding school doesn't limit you to anything. It is not a limitation. You can hire a social media manager who will control it from home. You could have meetings during your free time. So far as you've used your resources accordingly, by speaking to your mom, you just need to have a team behind you. You need to have a manager, a social media manager, a person who is doing the production of the brand, who controls everything. If you've planned it out and you've organized it accordingly, then definitely you could create a brand from boarding school.
What she said was very correct. In my own opinion, I feel like for boarding schools, there are obviously times when you would go home. There are times when you would go home. I feel like during those periods where you would go home, you would like work on your projects, you work on what you want to do and work on your projects more, and have like people that will help. You can have like your siblings, your mom, your dad. They will also help you. So that when you get to school, then once in a while they tend to post like this. They tend to bring out the brand you would like. For example, let's say you want to do a clothing brand. You can make different designs of clothes and like bring it out. Then once you're in school, once in a while your parents or your siblings tend to like post, I have a new design, you guys could come and buy it. And also your parents could tell the school that she's doing a business, so once in a while allow her to go online and check on her business and check how it's doing.
Okay, so another person is asking, as a student, how do I overcome exam phobia?
First, you have to think about the reason why you're having exam phobia. If you're having exam phobia because you didn't study, then the thing is that if it's 1 week to exam, just try and study as much as you can. And best of all, and don't be afraid. If you have exam phobia, even if you have studied, don't let the fear get to you. Everyone gets afraid sometimes, but don't let it stop you. And don't dwell too much on the fear. Fear can make people forget.
If you're dealing with exam phobia, there are 5 things that you have to do. Number 1, don't dwell on the fear, like he said, because dwelling on fear will not only make you forget what you've read, it will also make you have, you can also have physical representations. You could fall sick, you could start like having insomnia, you won't be able to sleep. So number 1 thing is don't dwell on the fear. Number 2 is, if you're having exam phobia because you didn't study, just try to do as much as possible in the shortest time you have, because dwelling on the fact that, okay, I haven't read, I'm scared, I'm going to fail, isn't going to do anything. The most you can do is to read to the best of your ability, study to the best of your ability. Number 3 is pray. Pray for guidance, pray for sound mind, pray for wisdom. Just pray that your exams will be fine. And number 4 is have confidence in yourself at all times. You could be having exam phobia not because you didn't read, but because you feel like you have not done enough. And honestly, if you have read for a long period of time, trust, what you have read is definitely enough. So you just have to be able to say, okay, I have read, I've been reading for the past 1 month, I've been studying since school resumed, I'm not sure if I'm going to pass. You are definitely going to pass if you are confident in yourself and you are able to, just have confidence in yourself and believe in yourself. And number 5, and the most important thing, is that exam phobia, you shouldn't let your fear not kill you, but you shouldn't let your fear be stronger than your power. So that's what someone told me around the time I was having fear of exams and everything. Exams are not something that you plaster on your head when you go outside. Like, if you go to a place, for example, I met a very inspiring woman who came to our school once, and guess what, she had repeated school once, and you wouldn't know from her because she was able to make the best of her situation. So even if you're feeling scared about your exam that you won't do well, just know that it's okay to make mistakes, and there'll always be an opportunity after to work harder and to do better.
Okay, I think the key points from what she said, she talked about 5 different things, right? And the first thing is don't dwell on the fears, right? Don't dwell on your fears. Because when you dwell on your fears now, it can weigh you down and brings out that negativity in you and making you believe that you can't do it. And the second thing she said is try to do what you can do with the limited time, right? Study hard with the limited time. Most times we always believe that the time is not enough, right? And we give up easily. So I think what she's trying to say is don't give up easily and do your best with limited time. And the third thing she talked about was we need to pray, right? Irrespective of what we're going through, even with the phobia of the exam, you need to pray and also have confidence. Have confidence in yourself, right? Even when the exam seems difficult in preparing for it, you have to have the confidence because you are I think you are the architect of your own future, right? Whatever that will happen to you will be from what you have inside of you. So you must have confidence in yourself that this exam, I'm going to pass the exam. And the last thing is, don't let your fear, right, or your weaknesses, don't let it overpower your strength. Build more on your strength, right? So don't dwell on your weaknesses. All right. I think thank you guys for that. Thank you guys for the question, for the answers. And now we're moving further to another question. Now, talking on education and the future of work. Then, how can we prepare for those changes? That is, in what way will social media, right, continue to shape the future of work and education? And how can we prepare for all these changes?
And then I wanted to start by breaking down the concept of education. Education is about acquiring knowledge and skills over a period of time. And how social media will shape the future is that we are entering a new era. As you know, March 2020 changed our lives, COVID-19. change is inevitable, and that is what is currently happening to us. An average Gen Z child will probably change their jobs 10 times within the ages of 18 to 34. What does that tell us? Social media will be very actively involved in our lives for obvious reasons, because of the way the world is globalizing. In fact, with the new jobs that have been introduced because of the social media, which is what people are leaning now more on, you don't see many people aren't doctors anymore, many people aren't lawyers or engineers as much as before, which is because of the change and the involvement that is happening to the world right now.
Social media will remain a tool for both good and bad in the future, and also for the future of work. Social media is currently used by school pages to post stuff like exam results and newer extracurricular activities. Social media is also shaping the future of work by creating new jobs such as brand managers, social media managers, and the like. What that will not mean social media will be the main focus of jobs in the future. There will be other new jobs that will be created by social media's constant evolution. Social media is currently evolving. It's soon going to leave some of our phones and will eventually follow us into the metaverse as VR and AR become more cheaper and more advanced. It's also going to affect the future of work, because the kind of jobs that will be offset by social media are becoming more and more apparent. Journalism would evolve into a different form as social media continues to grow and grow. And social media currently isn't going anywhere. There's no foreseen evolution or foreseen new technology or means of communication that is currently going to replace social media or the internet at large.
We have some questions here from our audience. So the first question. Okay. So the first question is, what do you suggest to a student, right, in which the parents want them to go for a particular course of study, right? And they, due to their passion, right, they want to go for something else. So what do you suggest to such a situation?
So you said, okay, your parents want you to be something.
Yeah, course of study, yes.
But you want to follow your own passion.
Yes.
I feel like that if your parents want you to be something, that of course they are your parents. You can't be rude to them. You can't disrespect them. So I feel like that you might not have a C per se, but you can sit down and talk to them about it. Like, and what you want to be must be valuable. Like it must make sense. Your points must make sense, and you must sit them down, talk to them about it, tell them about it. Try to find a way.
I feel if you are having issues with your parents want you to do something, and you want to do something else, I feel the first mode of action is to actually sit down with them and talk to them, make them understand why exactly you want to do it. If it's something that is not conventional, like say you want to be a dancer or you want to be a musician, you have to show them that you have a passion for it, and you have to make them understand that what you want to do is because you have interest in it, you have a passion for it, and you make them understand that you can't see yourself doing anything else, because if you find yourself doing anything else, you probably won't be able to impact that space as much as you would in what you want to follow. And if that still doesn't work, then what can be done is that honestly, you can't disrespect your parents, obviously, because they're your parents, but some things can just be done in moderation. Like, for example, you say you want to be a musician, try and start posting content about music, start going out for music, conferences about music, meet people who are producers, let them hear your songs, and by the time your parents can see that you are committed to what you are doing, and they can see that they can see a future of you doing this thing, and they see that okay, you are actually trying your best, you're trying your hardest to do this, then in that situation they will be more encouraged to support you, to support what you're doing, because that's the story of many popular musicians or dancers or lawyers, doctors. A lot of them had to defy their parents' opinions and make themselves successful, make themselves have value before their parents were able to realize that they were actually committed to what they were doing.
Realistically, the first thing I'll say is know who your parents are. Your parents will always be your parents. Sometimes they may have opposing opinions, but that doesn't mean they do not want the best for you. You have to make sure the career path you want to choose is feasible and can fit into your current lifestyle. What does that mean? If you know an average child, don't go saying you need to pick an occupation that will end up benefiting your parents in the future and you as well. Pick an occupation that will actually bring you money and you'll be able to use your talents to the best of your abilities, which is why you may not be able to impose your occupation, the idea you want to do on your parents, but you must know how to go about it by yourself and with your sense without causing calamity in the process. You need to carefully think about your moves and your actions and what you want to do. You could actually decide to do both because now in universities, people are able to do double majors or one minor, one major, but you need to be very smart about it because I assure you, your parents, every parent who gave birth to their child, I assure you love their children and wants the best for them. So you have to choose feasible occupations and know exactly what you're going to do about it without defying your parents.
I think all what we'll be talking about in this now is that the first thing you need to do is understand who your parents are, right? Now you have to have a talk with the parents. You have to give them reasons why you want to, go for. Yes. Yes, I know. That's why I said you have some discussions with them. Let them, there must be an alignment, right, from your goals and what they want you to go for, so that the best options, will be the best option will be agreed on. All right, everyone. So right now we want to go on a short break. We'll be back soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to every one of you. Thank you for coming out. This beautiful event that is going to change the narrative, that is going to change your minds.
So today we're here to discuss about learning outcomes. We have very qualified speakers from all around the world.
Schools across Africa are joining EdVest because of our position and because of our love to see school grow and deliver the objectives of learning and make impact.
What we need to change is we need to make sure that whatever we do, whether it's a public sector school and private sector school, the children should not suffer as a result. Because at the end of the day, the only way to lift people out of poverty is through education.
With pedagogical leadership now, you have a set of strategies that then support teachers to be better, to keep improving. And that has a direct impact on learning outcomes.
But what EdVest has done for us is that we're able to see data as to how everyone performs in the classroom, and we're able to see how, people are struggling.
Our commitment as educators is tied to the definition and description of who a teacher is.
Welcome back. So we'd like to hear one last word. What do you have to say to a student listening to you there, to a parent, to your school teacher? Just one last word from each and every one of you before we end today.
I'll first of all start by introducing myself again. My name is Kibati Ige, a student of Vivian Fowler Memorial College for Girls. What I would have to say is that social media is here to stay. It isn't going anywhere. Like he already said, there's no big revolutionary thing that's coming. So we should all learn how to adapt to this app, learn the pros and cons and ways that it would benefit our lives individually. Thank you for listening.
Once again, my name is Okeke Funai and I'm a student from Danso High School. For those who want to study something and their parents do not approve and want them to study something else, in my own opinion, I feel like your parents are the ones who pay your school fees and are the ones who are going to be paying for your education. So even if after talking to them and they still don't listen and they still don't approve of the point you've made, I feel like in your own corner or on your own, just gonna be studying on what you actually want to become and be studying on it. There's this, I read on this thing, there was this girl, her parents wanted her to become a lawyer, I think, and she wanted to become something else. So she went to school, studied for law and everything, and when she came back, she gave her parents the diplomas and everything, and then she still went back again to study what she actually wanted. But that might not work for everyone. So I feel like on your own corner, just be doing what you actually love and be studying, and eventually your parents will definitely see
that thing that you are doing, and they will actually like, oh, since you're actually really putting effort in what you want to do, you can go, you can study that. Yeah.
My name is Ajayi Eniola and I'm from Dancehall High School. So in conclusion, I would like to say that you should learn to put a balance between social media and the important things that you need to do, because social media is not going anywhere. So if you know that you are not ready to handle the pressure of social media, or if you know that you're not mature enough, or it's going to affect you in some way, that you're not going to have enough time for the important things that you need to do, because social media is not everything. So if you think that you're not ready for it, you should not feel pressured to go into it. Not everybody has to be on social media. Thank you.
To end this, I would like to reintroduce myself. My name is Oluwatobola Zacchaeus from Dancehall High School. Social media and the future of work is a very interesting and broad topic, and it could probably like several different essays focusing on each point. Social media is going nowhere and here to stay, but the future of work is evolving and evolving. A few years ago, nobody would have thought that no organization would have allowed their employees to be working from home. But as March 2020 showed us, there was soon no choice. That means there was no choice. There are several actions that are going to take in the future. And I think in a decade or two from now, there will be several new things that will be going on that nobody thought have thought happened. Generative AI is like ChatGPT and Dolly are becoming more and more advanced and are going to take over more and more jobs. Though estimates say that eventually jobs that will be created will be more than the jobs that it will remove. TLDR, social media is here to stay, but AI is going to be a big part of how we're going to use the internet and social media. The same person that once said that the internet was going to have an impact on people's daily lives, I don't remember his name anymore. He said that social media is going to have AI will have an impact on the way people use social media and life in general. The point is, we should be prepared for all the advances in the future of work and education. Our traditional education systems, at least here in Nigeria, I don't know about other countries, I do not believe they are relevant enough to cover all the new practices and all the new trends and the new things that are going to happen in the future. While we are still learning physics, all sorts of new discoveries are being made, and ChatGPT is proving by can write essays better than any of us. We need to focus more on learning how to use these tools, because eventually doing these things on our own become obsolete. According to evolutionary scientists, human beings were once hunters and gatherers, with agriculture being a major point of focus. But I don't think anyone here can hunt or gather. But that's not important, because that's not really relevant to today's world. Nobody is going to ask anyone to hunt. So therefore, losing the ability to hunt is not necessarily a bad thing. I could talk more and more on this, but that's all I have to say for today.
So again, my name is Samuel Shinoiki from Dancehall High School. So all I want to say is that, okay, she said that social media is not going anywhere. So I don't think you should I think you should put your mind to hard work and focus on your education. Because you can't just be just because my friend is doing something, I should follow them too. And because they are still keeping up with their education, I should follow them too. I'm okay, me too, I can do it too. Because you don't know what they do at home, you don't know how they read, you don't know how they study, you don't know how they assimilate. So I feel social media is going nowhere. Just be hardworking, focus on your education, and stay in school while you were sent to school. The reason why you came to school. Thank you.
To round off, my name remains Harriet Ario, and I would just like to say that, as my co-panelists have said, social media is not going anywhere. We need to be able to adapt to its tools, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because if we're not able to get used to social media, it will just lead to us as a society not being fully aware of all the things we can make use of it. We can make use of social media to enhance our education, to enhance our skills, to provide creativity, and just to generally become better versions of ourselves. Also, I'd like to say to all the students, in relation to work and education, do not feel pressured to conform to society just yet. As you all know, we are all still young minds, we're all still growing, we're all still developing. So don't feel pressure to be an adult yet. Be able to enjoy your teenage years and be able to fully say that you were able to have fun, make memories, and also you will have the capacity to be successful in future if you are able to adapt to social media and its advantages.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your participation and all your honest and truthful and realistic opinions. So on this note, we're imploring all parents, teachers, and school owners, just like what we all agree, that social media has come to stay and it's going nowhere. So let's try to leverage on social media to improve our academic career and path. Now, from the parents' view, try as much as possible to always be the guidance to your students or your kids. And as teachers and school owners, let's leverage on improving ourselves and improving the quality of education. So on this note, we'll be going on a very short break. We'll be back shortly.
In today's society, social media has become a powerful and popular tool in people's daily life. Due to its wide coverage, social media has millions and millions of users in any part of the world. The biggest and most useful function is that we can use them to chat and keep in touch with others. We can post something that we want to share, such as our feelings, things that are gonna happen, or had already happened. Of course, we can view others' moments too, to find something funny, to know what happened around you. In the last few years, social media has greatly changed the world of marketing. Enterprises use social media to showcase their brands, build a good relationship with customer and drawing new sales. Social media makes life convenient, lets people get reach to each other. It certainly plays a great role for the success of each individual.
Stand a chance to win 1 million naira in the EdVest STEM competition coming up on during our EdVest Catalyst. So, whereby we have a lot of prizes to be won in the EdVest Catalyst. Now, to register as a school or for your participant, now kindly go to catalyst.edvest.net/the-competition. Thank you.
We are also inviting all stakeholders, all education enthusiasts, all proprietors, school owners, teachers, and parents to our yearly EdVest Catalyst. This promises to be big, insightful, and we have a lot of speakers who is coming to pass knowledge to us. Let's just go and visit catalyst.edvest.net/registration. I'll say that again, catalyst.edvest.net/registration. We'll see you there. Thank you very much.
All right, on this note comes to the end of this month's SGA webinar. See you next month for our next episode.
EdVest is Africa's leading digital educational platform, which enables administration, communication, finance, teaching, and learning beyond the classroom. EdVest allows you as a parent to access and track your child's academic reports and personal growth at any time, giving you a better understanding of your child's academic performance.
Have a nice day at school.
We give you the security and reassurance you need to excel in your daily activities and manage your financial obligations to your child's education. EdVest provides an administrative and management system which enhances accountability, teamwork, and growth needed for a thriving organization. gives perfect results. Teach creatively, learn effectively, track your child's performance easily, and do so much more with Edvis. Edvis, digital education. Visit www.edvis.net to get started now.